So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our video of Let's Talk About Uranus today. So yes, we're going to be talking about Uranus, since you all demanded it from the Neptune video. And as always, if you do not know where Uranus and Neptune are placed in your birth chart, what nakshatra they're in, sign they're in, along with all your astrological details, check out the links here. Check out my full astrological report, including my books, consultations, and link to my academy, Vedic Astrology Academy, where I teach everything related to astrology. Okay, so yeah, we are diving deep now, finally, into these outer planets that I use sometimes I don't use, but yes, they are useful. That's the main thing. So let's try to understand Uranus. So if there's one theme that I want to leave you guys with today is radicalization, radicalism. But it's not the radicalism that you may think. Something which is, well, it is like bad, right? Negative. Radicalism of Uranus shows that things which were presented for a long period of time as straight and stable must now turn, must now reverse, or kind of like twist their angle in order to progress the society forward. That's what the radicalization means. Because what happens is, the best way to explain this is a birthing process. So when somebody is going through a birthing process, a mother, it is painful. It is painful, I mean, they literally feel like they're going to die with the pain that they're in. But what happens once that hour-long, half an hour-long, 6-hour-long agony is over with, you're presented with something new. A new life with its own karma, with its own likes and dislikes, and you unconditionally love it. So this is what Uranus does. It makes things feel like they're radical. They're out of bounds. They're like, why is this change happening? Because Uranus is change. It is that radical change. But that, once you settle into its energy, then you are like, okay, this is the type of change I can embrace. You know what? This is not bad. As much as I thought this was bad, maybe it's not bad. But it is that actual process of, that actual molding, that turning on the angle of a particular situation. Because if you look, Uranus, it's actually tilted on its axis 180 degrees compared to every other planet. So what happens in this particular situation is that Uranus represents things that are done in an awkward manner. Uranus is a thing that is done with kind of like an unorthodox approach. But Uranus is also known as the god of thunder, because Thor lives there. Okay, Thor lives there. Okay, fine, doesn't live there. Hello, fact checkers. He does not live on Uranus. But Uranus is thunder. Uranus is, lightning, that jolt of electricity. So what happens when electric jolt happens? It can either provide electricity to a city, to a town, or it can actually fry a town or a person. It's kind of like the saying that fire can cook a man's food, but fire can also cook the man itself. That's what Uranus is. It's this lightning energy that, if used in the right way, it can bring about a change that can change the future generations. Or it can bring about this sudden jolt of lightning that will be known historically as this absolute malevolent event, that one should avoid in history. So what Uranus represents is this complete change of pattern, complete change of culture, change of people and perception. And because of that electricity, that sudden, because see, the reason why it's electricity, think deeper. Uranus is about sudden change, like just boom, just like that. It just changes. It changes you, it changes me, it changes society. So what does it feel like? People will use this term, oh my God, this was a shock. What just happened? It's a shock. What's happening? What is a shock? Shock in actual scientific terms is being jolted with voltage of electricity. You get shock. And right when you touch it, you're like, just your whole body is riddled, with vibration. So it is that shock that brings, and literally what Uranus is also about. It's about, especially in a personal level, it brings about people who bring sudden change into certain things, sudden change into certain industry. For example, Steve Jobs brought this sudden jolt of electricity in the telecommunication industry, which has changed things forever. Unless, of course, some asteroid comes, the entire Earth is destroyed, and we're back to our primitive way, hunting for food. But it has so far changed society. Okay? Einstein's theory, or who's that? Forgot this one German female scientist who was behind invention of the nuclear fusion, which ultimately led to nuclear bomb as well, or the atomic bomb. These are radical sudden changes that changes things. So people, this Uranus really, on a personal level can show, especially if it's with your Atma Karka, planet with the highest degree, sun, moon, ascendant, lord. It can show somebody who wants to bring radical change into things. And it will not happen, gradually. It'll happen suddenly. Even to a person who has this. That change will happen suddenly. Suddenly, like if a person is working in a corporation for 15 years, 20 years, the jolt of this Uranus, when it's conjunct, very primary planets in your chart, suddenly something happens. You're like, what am I doing here? Why am I not doing this? Okay, I'm going to do this. And suddenly the whole life is shifted. For better or for worse, well, we'll have to see yogas, we have to see dashas, but it's shifted, it changed. And they won't care if there's a yoga involved or not, or if there's wealth involved or not. They're going to go for it because that's a sudden shock now. It's like that doll suddenly got the battery or that electric shock in, and now it's just like operating and it's functioning. That's what Uranus does. And specifically, Uranus, at least in my observational astrology, is very similar to Rahu. Rahu, and especially the sign of Aquarius. And now I'm not saying that Uranus rules Aquarius. That's more of a Western astrology concept. I don't know. I think Western say that Uranus is controlling a Capricorn. I'm not sure. I think it's Aquarius. But the reason why I'm holding it to Aquarius is because it's about group, large group, shock and change. So what represents large group, organizations, and society? It is Aquarius sign. Okay? Because directly opposite is the king, Leo. So this is why Aquarius, and then Rahu, the radicalness of Rahu looks very similar to Uranus. But the thing is this, so you may be thinking, well, okay, then we should just stick to Rahu and use Rahu. Fine, you can do that and you can do excellent with it. Absolutely. Okay, I don't use on a day-to-day every single time. I only see the Uranus's position and Neptune when they're conjunct certain points in the chart. Whether it's your destiny point, Pranapadha, ascendant lord, Atmakarka, moon. This is where I see those radical things. But I see, like, especially with like aerospace. Uranus, I've seen this with aerospace, and obviously Rahu represents aerospace. Rahu represents sci-fi. It represents new age technology. So obviously technology cannot operate without the current. So I feel like it's this, Rahu is like this software, this piece of software or hardware. And Uranus represents the electricity that will allow you to actually function, do something with that hardware and software. Because if you don't have electricity, what are you going to do with your computer and your phone or your TV? They're just sitting there eating dust. So this is where I really see a lot of similarities with Uranus. But one thing I see with the Uranus is, especially Uranus, is about breaking law. And it's not really about breaking law, it's about breaking tradition. Breaking tradition. Like, so for example, the tradition is that you cannot go into this park. Okay, only the president is allowed to go into this park, and the park is empty. The park is throughout the years doing nothing. And then Uranus's jolt, the person will be like, no, I want to use it. Screw you guys, what you guys think. I want to go and use this land by Earth. Who are you? You're just a human. And they will have these kind of perceptions and these explanations. But they want to change the rule, change the law. And especially if you notice right now, Uranus is in the sign of Aries in Vedic astrology, sidereal. Okay? And here it's in the nakshatra of Bharani. It's like Yama and Uranus are together. Radicalization of rules, regulation, policies, and at the same time breaking off rules, regulations, policies. So this is what, Uranus is behaving, and that's exactly what it's doing worldwide, through every place. The law is just being either eradicated or becoming more strict, where people are just like, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to follow this. That's what happens. That's exactly, we're witnessing this right now. Okay. So anyway, guys, this was my analysis of Uranus, getting to know Uranus. And if you're new to my channel, subscribe below so you don't miss these type of videos. And if you want to know where your Uranus is placed, all your astrological details, check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.